Welcome back, true believers and spectacular Spidey fans, to another Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse related video, and in this video we are going to break down those 5 specific spider logos that we saw at the end of the trailer and try and pinpoint exactly which specific Spideys that they belong to. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, there was a really quick shot in the teaser trailer which showed 5 different spider logos that hint to the wider array of spider people that could be featured in the movie, and we are going to try and pinpoint which specific Spideys that these logos belong to. Now keep in mind, this is a different version of the Ultimate Universe because of how Miles Morales has a really interesting Spider-Man costume in this movie, and what we've seen so far is it looks like his logos on the front and the back are spray painted, and of course, given what you see here with how his suit looks like in the comics compared to how his suit looks like in this movie, it looks very, very different. So I can definitely see that happening for these different incarnations of Spider-Man or Spider People that we could see in the final movie, and these logos could be a nice change of pace for their costume designs, and I'm really excited to see if these specific Spideys that I think are going to be featured in the movie actually turn out to be true, given what these logos look like. So the first logo that we are going to break down is actually the one that you see in the thumbnail, is the one right here. Now this one was a pretty big challenge because it looks so similar to 2 specific Spideys. So the first one is the classic Amazing Spider-Man. Of course, this looks like a standard Spider-Man logo that you would see from the classic 616 Spider-Man from the comics, but also, if you are a fan of Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions, this logo also looks very similar to Spider-Man Noir, because this is actually the logo that he has on the back of his costume. But given, like I said, that Miles Morales' logo from the Ultimate Comics looks majorly different from how it does in this movie, this logo might be for the classic 616 Spider-Man or for Spider-Man Noir. Either or, I think seeing either of them in the movie would be fantastic. Now the second logo is sadly blocked by the Spider-Man logo. However, a great giveaway of indicating which specific Spidey that this spider logo belongs to is the top of the spider with its extremely flat pincers. However, a lot of awesome people on Twitter have actually been discussing this with me and have actually pointed out something very interesting, is that they don't think that those are actually pincers, they believe that those are actually ears. And given the fatness of this spider, I think this is a new incarnation of the logo for Spider-Ham. And actually what we see at the end of Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions with the post-credit scene of Spider-Ham talking to Madam Web, and you look at his logo, the top of the spider actually looks similar to how this spider looks like. And I think that this second logo definitely belongs to Spider-Ham, and given how this animation for this movie looks, I think it'd be hilarious to see Spider-Ham in this movie. That also goes back to the first logo possibly being the logo of Spider-Man Noir, and if we were able to see Noir New York in this movie with the art style that it has, I think that would be absolutely insane. Now the third logo hinted at the end of the teaser trailer is the hardest to identify because the only thing that we have to go off of is the legs. Now a lot of people have been saying this could be a different incarnation of the Amazing Spider-Man movie logo. It could also be a Scarlet Spider's logo. I think it could possibly be 3 specific Spideys, and I'll tell you which one I think it is the most related to at the end. So the first one that I have to go off of is an early version of Superior Spider-Man in the comics, because the logo of this looks very similar to how dangerous the legs are in that costume. And I think Superior Spider-Man, since he is a very popular version of Spider-Man, if he were to be shown off in this movie, I think that'd be very cool to see how his connections to Peter and Miles could play out in the story, and that would just be really cool to see that this version in the comics could be brought to life on film, especially since Doc Ock's personality in Peter Parker's body would be very interesting to see be played out with the writing of the narrative. Now this is another possibility, but I don't know if they would actually use it because of how it's from a video game, and what I'm talking about is Spider-Man Edge of Time. If you look at the front logo of Amazing Spider-Man's new costume in Spider-Man Edge of Time, the legs look almost identical to that of this logo. However, this is a video game Spider-Man, this is not from a comic book, so I don't know if they're allowed to use video game characters inside of a movie, but I think that'd be really cool if they actually mentioned something like that in the movie. I think that'd be really awesome to see be played out in the story. Now bear with me, but I think that the specific Spidey that this particular logo belongs to is actually Spider-Man 2099. Like I said earlier, this incarnation of Miles Morales in the movie and his costume look extremely different from how he appears in the comics. So I think they could do the same thing with Miguel O'Hara and his incarnation of the Spider-Man outfit in this movie. Now in the comics, Miguel's spider logo is supposed to represent that of a Day of the Dead skull with the added legs of a spider, but I think if they want to popularize and modernize Spider-Man 2099 in this movie, they would give Miguel a more identifiable spider logo that can also make it look futuristic at the same time. And I do think, if I had to put money on it, I do think that this particular Spider logo is that of Spider-Man 2099. Which again furthers the point, if they were to actually show off future New York or Nueva New York in this movie, the visual style that it could offer for fans would be mind-blowing. Now the second to last logo is actually a very simple one to identify because, like I said again, Miles Morales' logo is different, and I think this would be a different logo as well, is for Spider-Gwen, because the middle of the logo of the spider is a heart with just spider legs. And in the comics, Spider-Gwen doesn't even really have a spider logo. I know her costume design pattern is supposed to look like a spider, but she mainly has the hood with white webs with a pink background, and that's that. I think if they actually want to give Spider-Gwen a more identifiable spider logo, I think this would actually be it, and I think that it would actually be very cool to see if Spider-Gwen or a version of Gwen Stacy in this movie would actually create a suit that has that logo on it. I think that'd be very cool to see Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy interact in this movie, whether they're just friends or actually develop a relationship or something else. I think that'd be really cool to see how it plays out on film. Now, since the first logo and the last logo are the two spider logos that look the most similar to each other, I am going to put money down that the first logo actually does belong to Spider-Man Noir, while this last logo actually appears to look like that of Ultimate Comics Spider-Man, not Miles Morales, but actually Ultimate Peter Parker. And since Peter Parker is actually dead in this universe, maybe he might come back to life somehow, and this is actually the logo of Ultimate Peter Parker, or maybe just the Peter Parker that we see at the end of the trailer. Again, we don't know if that Peter Parker at the end of the trailer is actually the amazing incarnation of Peter Parker or the ultimate incarnation of Peter Parker, but either way, I think it'd be really cool to see Miles Morales and Peter Parker just team up, interact with each other, and if this logo does belong to Peter, that's just really, really exciting. And that wraps up my thoughts on identifying these 5 specific spider logos and trying to pinpoint which specific Spideys that they belong to. I had a great time making this video, and I couldn't have done it without the help of all these awesome individuals. We had a discussion over on Twitter about it, and they helped me out all the way with trying to pinpoint all these logos and trying to identify each of the Spideys that they belong to. They're all awesome people, and I'm going to shout them all out right now. Go check out all those social links in the description. They're totally awesome people, and they helped me out immensely. Huge thanks to Steven at StevenTheMan13 on Twitter, AR at ARGaming0612, SpideyHZ at SpidermanHZ14, Becky Morrison at SpiderBex, Ishan Vadgama at IshanVad, Riley Ville at TFC's Fried, Jake Westmore at Jake Westmore, Spider-Man at Spider-Man22017, and Candy Cane at AndrewBoy867. Thank you all so much for your help, guys. You were incredibly awesome to help me out with this video. I couldn't have done without you guys. And thank you so much for watching, everybody. Stay spectacular, Spidey fans. Peace out.